God damn, this boss is fucking infuriating for me. So maybe if I had played this game as a kid and knew, like, all the tricks, you know, like, I was intimately familiar with it the way I am with Sonic 2, and the like, maybe I would feel like, yeah, this is the best one. It does stuff none of the other games in this fucking series did. You know what I'm saying? And, like, maybe people who are familiar with this game, who did play it as a kid and who know all the tricks behind it, are, like, listening to my complaints and watching my performance and just rolling their eyes, being like, you don't know fucking shit. Like, you don't know how to... You're not playing it right. And I'm well open to that possibility. I totally admit that is very much could be the case. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you need to, just don't worry about it, dog. Or, like, it's super easy to get the, like, time compression. You just gotta do this, this, and this. And, like, maybe there's, like, something that people who play this as a kid, or just have more nostalgic knowledge of it, would have to say to dispute my analysis of it. Fuck me, this boss is ridiculous. Come on. Ah, goodness gracious. At least the music's nice. But, I didn't, like... I didn't. I didn't play this game until it was re-released here. Fuck off. On, the XBLA, the Xbox Live Arcade Marketplace. And this was my first ever exposure to Sonic CD. Fuck you, Eggman, shit asshole. Fucking hate that boss. So I went into it totally blind, and that's my takeaway. So again, maybe this comes down to, like, I would have a different opinion if I had nostalgia involved. I do acknowledge nostalgia as a factor with these games, because you just, like, inherently play a game that you're knowledgeably aware of differently than you would play a game completely blind. That's why I often say, like, I wish I could play a game for the first time again. Like, going back to that sense of unknowing, of not knowing where you're supposed to go and what you're supposed to do. Of not knowing what's going to happen in the story. I can never go back and play Sonic 2 for the first time again. I know how to play that game. I start playing that game, and my fucking, like, it's like instant. It's like autopilot. It just switches back on, and I play it, like, with the know-how of all my years of experience of playing it. And, like, I'm going into, maybe me going into this blind, like, I just don't have the right mentality. Maybe if I was playing this and I had played it as a kid, I'd just go back into that zone and be able to, like, do it correctly, right? But that's just not the position I'm in. All I can do is, like, come at a game from my own perspective of it, and, like, in a white room, I find this game to be pretty inferior to Sonic 2. And I know this game, and it came out after Sonic 2, so, like, I don't... to me, it feels like Sonic 1.5. It feels like they're still in that mentality, that mire of Sonic 1's design philosophy. And like I said, that embarrassingly bad playthrough of Sonic 1. I think Sonic 1 is an incredibly flawed little game, and they improved upon it substantially. God fucking damn it, son of a bitch! But that first game, like, it's really hard for me to go back to. For some reason, I am just on fire with these time stone zones. While I'm recording, it's like the opposite. It's like the opposite of the LP curves. I still respect Sonic 1 for doing something different, and it's definitely head and shoulders above its competition at the time, but there's just a lot of things about that game that I feel are very unpolished, and Sonic 2 polished it up, and then this game, you're going back to feeling like it's not that polished. It feels like it's still stuck in the same sensibility of the original Sonic game. Damn it. The level design feels very similar. Not in terms of like a layout, but in terms of like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe with words. It's one of those ephemeral things. It just doesn't have the fucking shit sucker. The same, like, it has the same sort of slapdash feeling that Sonic 1 had. It has the same sort of, we're not really quite sure how the world that this kind of character should be shaped for him to move through. That's how it feels to me. There we go. Come on. And it definitely has a unique sense of style to it. Like, I do like the style of Sonic 1, and this still maintains that. Whereas, like, Sonic 2's style was very different. It did go in a different way. That's something I didn't talk about. Sonic 2 feels a little bit more down to earth, where Sonic 1 sort of felt like it took place on another planet. And this game literally takes place, thank God, this is exactly what I'm talking about. These are lifesavers. And these are not on every level, and if they are, they're kind of like, they might be a little bit hidden away. You saw how much difficulty I got even getting up here. Like, man, if those had a little bit more easier access, I wouldn't have that complaint. Like, if there was, like, hit 88 miles per hour back and forth, next to, or like, adjacent to every single fucking signpost, that would probably mitigate a lot of my complaints. Or like, you might say, like, maybe that's taking away the challenge. Again, I don't know. I don't know how someone who's more knowledgeable and skilled at this game would feel about what I'm saying. All I can say is, fucking son of a bitch! And that's all I have to say about that. All I can say is, like, my takeaway from it. And my takeaway is, there we go, now I can get the user for this at least. And my takeaway from it is, it's just not as good. See, fuck, goddamn. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm just kind of fucked there. I lost track of what I was talking about. It's definitely much better than Sonic 1. It's still a bad feature. It's definitely not as bad in terms of, like, what the fuck are we doing, LOL, compared to Sonic 1. I mean, just look at, like, my performance in this compared to my performance in Sonic 1. Even with me running around like a chicken with my head cut off, I've got 14 lives and I'm doing pretty good. It almost feels like if I think of this as a do-over of Sonic 1, I feel a little bit better about it, but as a sequel, it's just, and especially compared to Sonic 2, which, again, like, I know this game was developed in tandem, but it still came out after Sonic 2. And Sonic 2 was better, and learned from Sonic 1's mistakes, and this one's repeating a lot of those mistakes. It's still, like, yes, better than Sonic 1, but it's not as good as Sonic 2. That's how it feels like. That's why, to me, it feels like Sonic 1.5. It feels like something of a do-over with that same kind of mentality that they took with Sonic 1. And again, off the top of my head, I don't remember, like, the exact specific actual development story, which is worth looking up. Ah, fuck you, drown piece of shit. But I play this game that came out after a game that was better. And I'm like, how am I not supposed to feel like this is a bit of a step backwards, guys? I feel like this might be mean to say, but I feel like the most worthwhile thing this game contributed is the animated. God damn it! Is the animation of that the game started with, where it had a little animated Sonic running around. And it looks so fucking incredible, and the credits are also going to have some more really fantastic Sonic animation. I feel like that was worth it. Like, man, for a taste of what the Sonic cartoon we could have had, that I still long for, really, because I love the sense of, like, the design. It has a really nice design for Sonic that is definitely better than the Western cartoons that we did get, and it's true to the plot of the games. Like, that's one of the reasons I don't really like either of the fucking Sonic cartoons, because they're just kind of making up their own thing with it, and it's like, what was wrong with what the games were doing? There's this Sonic OVA, which is semi-inspired by Sonic CD, because it has Metal Sonic in it, which is just surreal. That fucking OVA is fucking weird to watch, man. It's...
Hey, come out here, Sonic! It's okay if you don't swim. You should give it a try.
Just don't show off so much that you forget to look where you're going. What? It's probably nothing.
That's like a mind trap. Pop some fucking acid and watch that, because that's it feels its era. It feels like it's from exactly when it came out.
Those are Sonic's favorite clothes, so don't blame me if he gets mad at you.
Don't worry about it. He was here last night. He forced me to put on these clothes and then flew away without saying anything.
And again, it just makes up all this weird bullshit. And I'm like, why couldn't you just do what was in the games? Why can't I have a Sonic cartoon where Sonic's running around, blowing up badniks, and saving the animals that are inside the badniks? Like he was doing in the game. I don't know, like, it's weird that we never really got that. But anyway. Man, the music is fucking great. The soundtrack and the cartoon like clips. Those are this game's like best contributions to the series. And I suppose, like, if you take this as Sonic 1.5 and then look at Sonic 2, like, yeah, that's a better. Look at that background art too. Wow. That's a bit more, like, kind, but that's not how I look at it. This came out after. This was released, fucking son of a bitch, after Sonic 2. So I can't help but see it as, wow, this wasn't as good as the game that came out before. Why wouldn't I, thank you, why wouldn't I just play that one instead? You know, I'm talking about how, like, the levels are just so big, and you're kind of meant to run back and forth along them. I feel, at least, because I'm trying to find the goddamn projector. The Metal Sonic projection, which I need to get in order to make a good future. And, like, sometimes I'll hit a future signpost, and look at that, like, I have to stop myself from going fast in order to not go into the future. in order to not... Because I need to stay here in the past to look for the fucking projector in order to get to get the fucking good future. It's just not my preference. It's Sonic, and I'm, like, running back and forth, kind of solving something of an environmental puzzle. Trying to find something and manipulate the environment, which, again, yes, that's neat, and that's interesting. That it's sort of like every level is kind of this open environment that you can run back and forth across. There are cutoffs. Nope! There are cutoffs, but you see, now that signpost is gone forever. Cutoff points in the other Sonic games that's like, well, you're, like, locked into this section of the level now. You can't really go back, and the levels aren't designed for you to go back. This one, I feel like, is designed for you to go, woo, back and forth across the level, more or less. Again, maybe someone who's more knowledgeable might have a different, a different view, but that's how it feels like to me, and that's just not, that's not good or bad, but it's not my preference. It's weird to try and, specify what I mean when I say level design, when I'm talking about the Sonic games. Why would this happen? How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes, got nowhere to run. Life goes on and I'm fading away. I'm sick of this life, I just wanna scream. How could this happen to me? I don't know. I like Sonic levels to be fucking race. Fucking gun it from beginning to end. And there's only one or two levels in this game that have that tone to them, and one of them's a literal race. But the rest of them feel like open exploration. Kind of almost puzzle solving. I guess it's not, you could argue it's not mandatory to get the good future. It just changes the boss to be easier. Well, guess what? These bosses are pretty fucking hard, so I want the easier version. Thank you very much. There we go. I do love this boss. This boss is awesome. This is a pretty unique boss. Again, this game is definitely not bad. I wouldn't say it's, not good. Sonic 1 is kind of This game definitely has that spark to it. This boss is really a cool idea, where you're not really fighting Eggman. You're, trying to stay out of reach of these spikes and... which I can do. If you stop, you're fucked. Yep, like that. Trying not to get hit by these bombs he's dropping, and just waiting out the clock, because Eggman's a fucking idiot, and he's grinding the fucking bottom of his little contraption there against the fucking, conveyor belt, and look, he's, burning his little footsies. That's really nifty. This is a nifty game. And actually, I feel bad, saying negatively about Sonic 1, too, because it had the same style of things. It had that same style of, they didn't have the formula down yet, so they weren't mired by a formula. They had a boss fight against Eggman that was just, he's racing through this zone, hit him while going through this zone. It wasn't even really a boss fight at all. And that's not something any of the other games did. That's something that the first game did, because it was such a new thing that they didn't really have they kind of had the most freedom. They could just do whatever they wanted. And as a consequence, they did things that ultimately I feel didn't work, and that they ended up dropping later on. But it did give them a little bit of creative freedom to just try out whatever, and then they kept what stuck to the wall and let what didn't stick to the wall slide away. This game, I feels like, takes a little bit of what slid away and brushes it off and does a little bit more with it. It takes the unique little ideas that Sonic 1 had that none of the other games really replicated, and like improved on them, but I still feel like it's got the same problems. Like, there's a reason they didn't keep those things. Like, you can, I don't want to say polish a turd. Like, you can polish some copper, but it's still not going to be as valuable as fucking silver and gold or emeralds, you guys. Like, that's still a fine material, but it's just not inherently going to be as what's the word? Aesthetically appealing on the market as the more precious metals are going to be. I feel like that's a decent metaphor to have. Shit. This level, I feel like, is one of those that's much less of a open, god damn. That's just really annoying. Like, I don't like this level. This level's fucking annoying to me. This is one of those, like, yep, that's a Sonic 1 level. That's Sonic 2, and the other ones ain't going to have, and are all the better for the lack of it. Like, this is kind of what I mean. Like, this is one of those levels that I'm like, did you need to keep that? I mean, it looks nice. It's got a nice sense of unique style to it. But it's not as good as Sonic 2. That's what it comes down to. I'm playing this, and I'm like, why couldn't you have been as good as Sonic 2 was? That's kind of my takeaway. It's not a, this is objectively a bad game. It's a, this isn't as good as the game I was playing immediately previous to this. And I guess, like, that's sort of a little unfair. You should take it on its own merits, but at the same time, like, I feel like one of the merits of this game is that it's a sequel to Sonic 1. I feel like my opinion about this game is actually higher because of, damn it. Because of the way, really now. Because of the way, woo, buddy. Because of the way it improves on some of the, it's because of the way it, with the same mentality of Sonic 1, takes some of those things that I complained about and makes them much better. Makes them much less something to complain about. And apparently, like I said, the level design is good, but like, there's I want to say no bottomless pits in this game. I'm not, I think there might be like a couple, but there's very, 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 very few bottomless pits, and like, similarly, very few, like, Crushinator obstacles as well. And one of the things that just fucking pissed me off to no end about Sonic 1 was the over-prevalence of bottomless pits and Crushinator obstacles. That's why I say that I feel like that game doesn't have as good level design, because of the obstacles. Because of the instant death, fuck you, you're like get out of my house. Level obstacles to the design, to the fucking bottomless pits all over the goddamn place. This doesn't have that problem, and holy shit, is that a huge reason I wasn't fond of Sonic 1, so you take that out. Like, the idea of Sonic 1 without the bad part, without the, like, instant death, goddamn this fuck parts, that's definitely a better game. It's just not as good as Sonic 2, which is also a Sonic without the bad parts, and also that's what it is. This is Sonic 1 without the bad parts, but nothing else. Sonic 2 is Sonic 1 without the bad parts, and also a ton of new good stuff. And the stuff that's like additions, like this is Sonic 1 without the bad parts, and also like the things that are different I don't necessarily think are better, and I don't like, I think they're peculiar choices. Again, coming down to like the kind of it really comes down to the time travel, where you are, I feel, encouraged to run back and forth across the landscape to trigger, like, the time jumps. Yes, fuck you. I actually feel like the good future version of that's kind of harder. That's right, you better run, you egg-shaped fuck. I can definitely see how someone who played this when they were younger can be like, dude, this one's the best one. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I definitely feel that vibe. I feel what you're laying down. But for me, it just ain't that way. It is reminding me of that fucking OVA, which, goddamn, that's just the weirdest goddamn shit. Fucking look it up. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. Look up the Sonic OVA. That is a mind trip, man. There's so many weird fucking things about that fucking thing. This level's pretty fun. It's like make a whole level. Oh, what? Okay. Make a whole level out of, you know how in Chemical Plant Zone in Sonic 2 started out with like had all the loop-de-loops and the intersecting road? Make a whole level that's that. Like, yeah, boy, that's pretty cool. I'm picking up what you're laying down. And this is my favorite past. I haven't seen the Good Future version of the stage, so I don't know what the Good Future version is like, but I love this. How it's all overgrown and lush with jungle, and that implies a lot about like and it has this like spin dash through to go through these like nooks in the roads, and I just really fucking think that's so nifty. And it's all overrun and lush, but with nature and whatnot. But hello. But it's also got like a fucking White House, like a Washington DC building in the background there. Like, there's a lot of levels that have like a city in the background, and it almost feels like Little Planet has a civilization. Like, there are a people living on this planet, and you just kind of never see them. I don't know, like, that's one of those things that, Sonic 1 always lived in this weird little, Sonic 1. The Genesis games always had this kind of funny little cartoon, video gamey logic to the world design. Like, how is a normal person supposed to navigate the universe of Sonic? I think that's probably part of the reason we ended up getting such weird goddamn Sonic cartoons. Because, like, make a consistent world out of what these games have to show you. And it's fucking, like, weird. Like, what kind of world would operate under this kind of structure and logic? But, and clearly there must be some manner of society to these places, because look at the background of this stage. That is a cityscape. For some fucking reason, my sinuses always decide, hey, you're recording? Time to start acting up. Bothers the shit out of me. Always fucking snorting these fucking videos. But, like, that's clearly a cityscape in the background. Who built that city? Who's living in that city? Eggman? No, this is a real fucking place. That normal, assumedly, people just live in. And there are places like Eggman's... Places that Eggman didn't build are places that he's commandeering, like Chemical Plant Zone in Sonic 2 is just a place. That's not like Eggman built it. That's just a place that he like kind of hijacked. So like, who is living here? And I guess they kind of came up with their own answers. Like, here's this owl professor dude. Here's, like, this mayor and his monkey human cat girl daughter? What?
No! Sonic, please do it! You're the only one here that can save South Island and the entire planet Freedom! Oh.
Sonic, I don't care what happens to Robotnik or Daddy, but please just do this for the two of us.
Someone tell me why I should trust Robotnik when 99 out of 100 times he's lying.
But what if this is that one other time?
Oh?
The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog came up with, like, it's just this weird, wacky little Road Runner cartoon logic. And Sonic Sad came up with, like, this resistance, like, French resistance. Eggman's taken over the, like, he's furry Hitler, and the furry French resistance is fighting back against him, like, all very disparate interpretations. And, like, hey, I mean, that's kind of unique that, like, the same games inspired such different creative interpretations of what society in these games must be like. I don't know. I mean, what would you have come up with if you only had these Genesis games to go off of?